Good afternoon. I'm Dr. Ruhi Rawat, and on behalf of the Geography Department, BHU, I welcome you all to the Technical Session 26 of the 43rd IGC Nagi 2021. We have today with us Dr. Taruna Bansal as the keynote speaker, Dr. Diksha Bajpai as the co-chairperson, Dr. Ajay Paswan as the rapporteur. Dr. Diksha Bajpai is an associate professor of geography at the Dayal Singh College of Delhi University. Dr. Ajay Paswan is an assistant professor of geography in Ram Lakhan Singh Yadav College, Bihar. For some reasons, Professor A. Balakishan, our chairperson, will not be joining us for this session. This technical session is titled Population Characteristics. We have a total of 8 presenters in this session, and I request all to kindly adhere to the time schedule so that we can finish the session on time. Now, I hand over the session to our co-chairperson, Dr. Diksha Bajpai ma'am, to please further proceed.
Good afternoon to all the respected colleagues. I hope I am audible.
Ma'am, we can hear you clearly.
Recording in progress.
Taking this opportunity to begin with the session, it is a matter of great pleasure, and I am really joyful to and looking forward to listen to Dr. Taruna Bansal and the topic that she is going to speak on is urbanization sustainable? Very, very relevant, especially in the post-COVID scenarios. All through the COVID, this pertinent question was asked again and again. The kind of urbanization that we are witnessing in the developing world, is it sustainable? Is it resilient enough to bear the shocks that are not new, but the frequency of such shocks are going to increase in the near future. So let me take this opportunity to welcome Dr. Taruna, and let us begin this session by listening to what she has to speak. And I am very, very sure that all of us are going to gain a great insight by the lecture that she is going to, a very, very significant topic, interesting topic. And then we will invite the speakers one by one. I hope this form and format suits everybody. And let us all begin by listening to dear friend Dr. Taruna Bansal. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Good afternoon to each one of the present there. First, I would like to extend my heartfelt thanks for giving me this opportunity to put forward my thoughts on is urbanization sustainable, as Dr. Diksha said. But actually, what I would like to speak today is, can urbanization be sustainable? So, my talk starts with a question that, like we have been talking of urbanization, and I'm sure Dr. Diksha also is an urban geographer. And a lot of people here, we all are associated with what is urban, and we need to understand, especially when we see this process in the domain of sustainable development, because these are the two different things which everyone is talking about, especially when we talk of post-COVID scenario, or even before that. Because when we talk of sustainable development, what my take here is that we are talking of sustainable development today because somewhere, we were not satisfied with what development brought us. And development, and when we see urbanization as a process is a field which has been studied by all social scientists, and I consider myself more of a social scientist rather than, and I look into urbanization as a process which leads to urbanism as a way of life. So, when I try to interpret this process of urbanization, I take this interpretation from three levels. One, from the thing of behavioral concept, where, the entire concept sees three particular aspects of urbanization. One is size, that is, larger the size, more is the segregation. The other is density, which according to when we see this behavioral approach, it says that it leads to mutual exploitation. And the third one is diversification, that is role confusion and conflict. So everybody is from anywhere. Nobody can say that I belong to this particular urban city or I'm an urban, till we understand that there is this that urbanization or urbanism has become my way of life. So when we see this behavioral approach, the entire thing changes from a process to a behavior. And here, what I would like to put forward is, can urbanization be sustainable? Because when this pandemic thing occurred, people who have migrated to urban places, especially in India, in a developing country in India, where the whole process of urbanization has been very different from the developed world. Because when we see urbanization as a process, we have to understand that what we are experiencing today is very different from what people have experienced in the developed world, because their urbanization was the result of industrialization and it went hand in hand. So the process, the way the cities developed was very different. So when you talk of Burger's theory or all the models, even if we talk of Christoller theory, what we see is most of these models are not applicable when we take it for developing countries. The reason being, here industrialization and urbanization did not go hand in hand. If we see today in India, most of the cities are dependent on the tertiary sector rather than industrial sector. For example, I'll cite an example from Delhi, because I reside in Delhi. I'm working in Jamia Millia Islamia. So in Delhi, most of the industries have been shifted to the peripheries. So we cannot say that the industrialization of Delhi has led to the urban expansion of Delhi. There have been a number of other factors. So when we see this behavioral approach, we have to see that the size, density, and diversification matter. And here I'll again quote what Lefebvre says, that this urban space becomes the conflicted space. Now, why does it becomes the conflicted space? Because, as I said, the larger the size, more is the segregation. Density, it leads to mutual exploitation, and diversification means there is role confusion and conflict. Now, this can easily be understood, when if you have ever visited or if you are staying in a big city, that wherever there are these huge big bungalows or wherever there are these new complexes, these tall towers, if you come to Delhi anytime and if you are traveling to Gurgaon or Noida, you see these huge cemented, not even jungles, would I say, they are like, I could show you of some photographs, but I think because it's like a shortage of time, I'll just restrict to what I would like to say. If you just see any photograph of Delhi or any big metropolitan city, you will just see huge towers of cement, with glass architecture. Now, even that is contested. Why glass architect in a tropical or a subtropical country like India? But we will not go into that debate. What I'm trying to say, why I say I agree to Lefebvre's concept that urban space is the conflicted space, because we have gated communities. We have created what can be said that urban enclaves. Enclaves means like people, they are these migrants or the poor people are needed to work in these high-end bungalows or these communities, these gated communities. But once their work is done, they are told to leave that place. And then that place, that space becomes inaccessible for them. So somewhere it is leading to a sort of conflict, which is result of segregation as well as mutual exploitation. So this is my first, approach, or the way I look at urbanization. Second is structural approach, because this is what we have been studying throughout whenever we study settlement geography or whenever we study settlement. And this is how we see settlements, rural and urban. So rural is somewhere where there is agriculture dominates, and urban is somewhere where there are non-agricultural activities. And as the industry develop, cities develop. Third one is what is called geographical approach. Now, this is something which is demographic in nature. Rural settlements over the period of time has transformed into urban settlements. And this takes place because of two processes. One is natural increase, where we have the growth of individual towns or the multiplication of towns, and the other one is migration. So there is mobility of population. So whenever there is mobility of population, there is also mobility of goods and services. So, I was seeing one of the diagram which says there was this comic strip which says that, okay, in a village, there is like people waiting for the city to come to them. So it was in a megalopolis, first 50 kilometers, then they slashed it. It was 30 kilometers and then 10 kilometers. So that means people now are not going to urban areas or cities. Even cities are moving to the rural areas. And this is happening when we see the expansion of cities. I even have this problem with the term urban sprawl, especially in developing countries like India, because when we say urban sprawl, we say somewhere, in a negative connotation, that urban sprawl will be a problem to the urban environment. But today in developing world, if a city is expanding, why are we not using the term urban expansion? It is, taking the rural areas which are part of its hinterland within itself. So rather than using the term urban sprawl, it can be seen as urban expansion, which will bring growth. Because whenever we see city, why people are moving towards, because they are like powerful magnets, and that is where the whole even the sustainable development goals say that the goal number 11 says that cities should bring sustainable development. But we have to understand one thing, that when we are seeing city as a space, it has its own limitations. And that is what is the biggest limitation is the disparity it holds, the inequality. And that is inherent. But when we even see how city has evolved, we see Louis Mumford, we all study Louis Mumford, and he says that city will cease to exist as Rome did. And we have this necropolis, tyrannopolis, and necropolis. Again, I differ here, because I see when we see city evolving, and today I say that after the 4 stages, after megalopolis, what we today have, technopolis rather than necropolis and tyrannopolis, what we today have is technopolis. And smart city can be an example. Now you may differ to me and you may say, ma'am, aapne Taruna aapne ye kaha, technopolis ka matlab smart city ka matlab hai smart people. But aren't today we smart enough? Because we are having this congress, we are having this Indian Geography Congress pan India, where we are interacting each other with the help of only technology. So somewhere we have become smart enough. So if my city is smart enough and it is able to look into my needs, I think that urbanization can be sustainable. Now here there is another point what one can say. I was reading somewhere, especially in one of the lectures which I've heard of my supervisor, Professor Atiya Habib Kidwai, and there she had presented one slide, not today, I think around 8-9 years back. Cities are seldom sustainable because the urban environment has a lot of problems. There's poverty, slums, water settlements, then you have crime, to name a few. We can have a long list, but in spite of that, we are surviving. The cities are developing, and the cities have proved that today they are bringing growth, they are bringing development. So when we talk of city as sustainable, there is a position, there can be, and technology can be one of those powerful tools which can bring this particular aspect, that city will become sustainable. It is sustainable. Now, this has to include one more thing. Who belongs to city? As I said, everybody comes from somewhere. So if I have to take that I belong to the city. Now, when this pandemic happened, we all saw that, there was huge out migration from cities, and everybody was thinking, workers nahi milenge, log kaise kaam karenge, industries band ho gayi, hamare gharon mein kaam waliyan nahi thi. So there was a lot of panic. In spite of that, this health problem, even this panic was there. I think Diksha ma'am will agree to that there was a huge influx, like outflux of people going who cater our daily needs. So I think, when we talk of urbanization, we also should take urbanism as the thing. If I'm living in city, I belong to that city. So urban should be my way of living. Okay, I belong to a particular village, I belong to a small town, I migrate. So I'm not telling you that please leave. अब अपना सारा गांव का सब कुछ छोड़ के आ जाओ और शहरी बन जाओ, नहीं. My thing is, if I will belong to the city will adapt me. And when the city will adapt me, the city will be sustainable. Because when you adapt, you are ready for change. When there is change, there is dynamism. So when there is dynamism, there is no question it won't be sustainable. So, when you're talking of urban space, instead of talking of, as I said, I agree to Lefebvre when he says it's a conflicted space. One should also see it as a space which also brings people together. It is bringing so many people from so many walks of life together. It is providing opportunities to each one of us. Like in Delhi, or even when we talk of burgers, we always read there is a Chinatown, there are slums, and at the same time there are these big bungalows. Same when we see any town, you see urban morphology of any city or a town, there are different regions, enclaves. We have Jamia Nagar, where the region is dominated by Muslim population. All the poor and rich Muslims reside there. Even if a person, even Salman Khurshid, he has his big bungalow just like 2 kilometers, not even 2 kilometers, I think 1 kilometer from our department. So in spite of having such a big name and such a big status, he prefers to stay in Jamia Nagar somewhere, because he's attached to that place, because that is something which is related to my culture. So culture also becomes very important. So when culture comes as part of my way of living, it has to be sustainable, because I am attached to my culture. And I was reading somewhere, and I have done some work where I say that in India, urbanization is not being driven by tertiary sector, or is being driven by industrialization or any other development model. What it is being driven by is cultural urbanization, because culture is something which is very dominant. And I did one study on this Mathura Vrindavan region, which is the part of this Braj region. I'm sure all of you must have heard of it. And the irony of this particular region is that it's a very, very strong, it has very strong cultural roots. And it is located between Delhi, Jaipur, and Agra. So you can understand it is located between the triangle, that golden triangle, three main metropolitan cities. So Agra has its own tourist center and an educational center, Jaipur being the administrative center of such a big state of Rajasthan, and Delhi, the national capital. But still, this cultural region is not developed as it should have been. And when I was studying, the urban expansion, I won't say urban sprawl, urban expansion of Mathura, I was astonished that over the years, the city has only grown, or rather expanded, towards Vrindavan. And in spite of the fact that there is a huge stretch of reserved forests, still people are moving only towards Vrindavan. They are not moving towards Agra. They are not moving towards Jaipur. And some of it is only towards other pockets where the Braj culture is there, that the Krishna circuit, the government has come up with this concept of Krishna circuit, which is the part of the cultural tourism thing. So what I'm trying to say is that when we see urbanization as something related to what I belong to, and culture is something which I am associated with, I would surely associate myself with the city. And if I associate, each one of us say that ye sheher mera hai, ये शहर मेरे लिए अजनबी नहीं है. आई हैव रेड समवेयर ये शहर नहीं, ये महफिल है. बट आप उस महफिल को छोड़कर मत जाइए, आप उस महफिल में पार्ट बनिए. तो जब आप उस महफिल के पार्ट बनेंगे तो वो सिटी कभी डाई कर ही नहीं सकती. और जैसे कि आप देखिए कैलकाटा में लॉन्ग बैक 1980s राजीव गांधी हैड गिवन द स्टेटमेंट दैट कैलकाटा इज अ डाइंग सिटी. But we still today say that Calcutta didn't die. Now you may question me that, nahi ma'am, but Delhi or Taruna aap baat kare, Delhi or Mumbai ke aage Calcutta kya hai? But still, it didn't die. It's still there, and it is catering to the needs of its hinterland. People belong to it. So when you have this element of belongingness, we will not have to question that is urbanization sustainable, and we will not have to look for ways how the city has to be sustainable, what is green city. I was looking through a lot of things. So what we have to see when we see this, we have to see how city looks into the social balance, because it gives you the identity. I am a Delhiite, so it's providing me the identity towards ecological balance, efficiency, because that will be provided when we say sustainable. Because we are agreeing to that, okay, we have exploited our resources, so now we need to be careful. So it is providing me that ecological balance. So we are talking of green city, we are talking of sustainable city, we are talking of smart city, we are talking of green corridors and diversity, because a poor is also able to live his life there, and even the rich is able to. So it will bring what I call as sustainable urbanism, because it will lead towards social balance, ecological balance, economic balance, because it is providing us identity, efficiency, and diversity. As I'll just quote, Moon, the UN person, building sustainable cities and a sustainable future will need open dialogue among all branches of national, regional, and local government. And it will need the engagement of all stakeholders, including the private sector and the civil society, and especially the poor and the marginalized. So when we talk that is urbanization sustainable, we have to be inclusive. We have to take all with us. Then only a city can be sustainable. And I'm sure, I am hopeful that cities will not cease to exist. Urbanization is sustainable and will remain so. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks a lot, Karuna, for enlightening and a very hopeful lecture. It does bring not just joy, but it brings a lot of hope. The fact that when we hear that developing world is the part of the earth which is going to have a potential for urbanization, and then you, on the flip side, you also hear things like pauperization of the urban areas, it brings conflicts in our mind. Just to add, when you say that that the cities have to have an identity, I would just like to add that the pictures that we saw, the scenes that we saw during the pandemic, actually brought this entire discussion on whether there is a discontinuity between rural and urban, or we are all part of a continuum, because as certain authors all across the world have started to believe that if the settlements prosper as part of the same continuum, whether it was the visionary of our ex-president when he said that provide urban amenities in rural areas, or even studies coming from large conurbations, especially in the other Asian countries, they all have started to speak about a rural-urban continuum as part of a change which will be not just brought to the cities, but the effects of it or the positives of it are going to also enable the rural areas. So the synergetic behavior that we need among settlement of different sizes is what will probably make for a sustainable settlement structure. That is just something that I wish to add.
Yeah.
But thank you.
Thank you. Pleasure is all mine.
Aruna, for enlightening all of us. Do we have if I may ask, is Dr. Ajay Paswan here? He's supposed to be the reporter.
He's raised his hand.
Okay. No, I was just wondering, since we have about 8 speakers, are all the 8 speakers available, Dr. Ajay? Okay, before we actually start talking about the process of starting off with this seminar, with this session, we have amongst us Professor Prasad, who has been kind enough to join us and has agreed to be the chair of the session. And I've been asked to continue to kind of start with the proceedings. So I will start.
Thank you, madam. It is pleasure to just talk to you people on this place. But I would like to request madam to continue as a chair, because she started that one. I don't want to disturb the whole process. So she should take that responsibility Only I will introduce myself in a very brief so that all the participant and people they should know. Because I joined this session late and that madam has already started. So it is my prime duty to let her continue. So me, I am a Professor Hoshla Prasad. I did my MSc, PhD from the BHU Department of Geography. And after that, I went to the Kenya in the Kenyatta University. There I served with different capacity there almost 28 years. After that, I joined the Indira Gandhi National Tribal University as a founder, head of the department of that university. And I tried to establish that department, what I can do at that time with the limited resources, because it was the newly started university in the Amarkantak. And we were trying to establish that department in the context of the tribal base resources and looking the need of the tribal student of that area. So that was my focus in that one. Just I served there around 7.5 years, then I retired from that one. Now I am just here staying in the Varanasi because I am already from this place. My native place is Banaras. So I am enjoying my retired life. In that retirement, I am just happy with having the colleague of BHU and other people, and whenever it is any occasions come, they request me or they invite me to join, and I happily accept their invitation and that one. So I also thank the organizer to give me opportunity to share this view here, because 2 days I was not here because I was busy with other commitment in other universities, so I could not join the session from the first day inaugural, but I am here today and I will be there in the valedictory session. So thank you, madam. Tanuja madam giving a very good speech on the sustainability of that urbanization in the present context. And madam chairing the session, she should continue. I'm grateful to ask me to chair, but I don't want to interrupt in that one. So please continue. It is my pleasure. At least I am introduced with you people, because I never see. Once I was there in Tanuja madam department, but I couldn't meet her. The madam was head of department. I met her, and then we just come out from that one because I was not knowing any person there. So it is my pleasure to see you people here and enjoying your lectures and your advice and sharing the session and all those things. And wish happy day for the other participant, and stay here in Banaras. And I know the hospitality of the Banaras Hindu University is known for that one. So there will be no any problem for any participant. Those are physically present here. So madam, continue that one. And there are so many people, I don't want to take much time. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. I will just continue with the proceedings and invite the first speaker. If Dr. Ajay can enlighten me a little bit, what time limit have we set for each presenter? Dr. Ajay, you are muted.
His mic is still mute and he's unable to communicate.
Yes.
I think the minimum of, a maximum of 6 to 7 minutes would be fine for each speaker.
And are we going to have a question answer interaction
Yes,
after all the publication, after all the speakers?
Yes, ma'am, sure.
Okay. So we'll start with the first speaker. I invite Nisha Sonkar. And the topic for the presentation is measuring physical quality of life in Varanasi city. Kindly stick to the time and and welcome. You are welcome to present your research findings.
Good afternoon, ma'am. I, Nisha Sonkar. Hello, ma'am. Hello.
Yes, Nisha, सुन रहे हैं हम आपको. Please
Yes, ma'am.
continue. जी.
My topic is measuring physical quality life in Varanasi city. Quality of life is the sum of all living conditions. Here in this paper, I have only include physical quality of life. This is the Mercer quality of life living. Physical quality of life means the physical quality of life index is developed by Morris to measure the basic needs of poor population in 1979. He combined three indicators: life expectancy, infant mortality, and literacy to represent the physical quality of life. But here I am used physical refer to the physical condition of a household based on availability of amenities and facilities in family. A person of feeling satisfaction or dissatisfaction, happiness or unhappiness with life by and large depends on how we live. Here I am used 11 indicators for assess the physical quality of life. This is the objective of my topic, to measure the physical quality of life across a section of society in a study area, to examine the spatial variation in physical quality of life among different sanitation zones, and to identify the important predictors which are significantly associated with quality of life. This is the location map of my study area, which is Varanasi city. Database and methodology. The city is divided into 14 sanitation zone by municipal corporation. I have used this zone. From each sanitation zone, I have selected one ward for the sampling. Altogether, 400 households have been selected on the basis of purposes random sampling. And availability, amenities, and consumer durable available in household are used here to calculate physical quality of life. Factor analysis have been used to calculate composite index, which termed as physical quality of life index, and it is divided into three groups: low, moderate, and high. This is the background characteristics of the respondent. More respondent are female and belong to 30 to 40 years age group, and maximum respondent belong to general and OBC group. Hindu are most, and this is the indicator of physical quality of life: type of house, ownership of house, number of living rooms. There are 11 indicators. This table shows that maximum respondent living in the Pakka houses, which is 90.7%, and with two dwelling rooms, 26.6%. If we are compared the data from Varanasi to urban India, which are more or less than which same. Only in urban India, only total people used LPG for cooking is 65%, and in Varanasi city 76.4% due to Ujjwala Yojana by Pradhan Mantri. This map shows that a household of the central part of the city are had adequate basic amenities and assets. Out of 90 wards, only 12 wards come under the low access of basic amenity and facility. Most of these wards are situated at the bank of river Varuna and inhabited by slum population and low income group people. The condition of these wards are very poor because inadequate supply and safe drinking water, poor sanitation condition. This is the ward wise sanitation household access to basic amenities and facility, which shows that Adampura, Jaitpura, and Nadesar, Sarnath have low access of basic amenities and assets. There is urgent need to pay attention in these areas. Progress in access to basic household amenities and assets. This table shows that progress in 2011 to 2017, which shows that significant improvement in toilet facility, use of LPG cooking, television, computers, mobile, bicycle, and motorcycle. Physical quality of life shows that 80% people belongs to the high physical quality of life, by followed by general caste, nuclear family, and high socioeconomic status family. This map shows that Adampura and Jaitpura sanitary zone in poor condition. Findings: a highly significant improvement have been found in access to toilet facilities, source of communication and transportation between 2011 and 17. No significant improvement have been seen field in the safe drinking water, garbage collection disposal, affordable housing with ownership and parking facilities. Adampura, Jaitpura sanitary zone have shortage of different kind of basic amenities and facilities. Concluding remarks, the quality of life have been observed uneven across the section, space and society. It varies according to nature of localities and background characteristics. Regression analysis shows that education, income, and nature of employment are important predictors to physical quality of life. What is required? We need to go to offer a reasonably similar quality of life to all citizens. The pursuit for a better quality of life for all should not be delayed any further. Of the various factors, availability of and access to infrastructure, facility, and public amenities, education, employment, and household income are the most critical variable to consider in the any quality of life improvement programs. Thanks.
Thank you, Nisha, for being very, very precise and effective. We will take, if there are any questions directed towards the speaker, we will take all the questions at the end of all the presentations. Thank you, Nisha, for the presentation.
Thank you, ma'am.
Next, we have Sarita, comparison of urbanization and urban population of aging in Karnataka.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so Dr. Sarita, can we have your presentation?
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, now I am going to share my PPT, ma'am.
All right.
You connected.
Sarita, I'm not able
Yes,
to.
ma'am. No, ma'am. There's some technical issue, ma'am. I try, ma'am.
Okay, we'll wait, we'll wait.
Okay. Ma'am? Hello?
Yes?
Ma'am, I am finding too difficult my share. I present my paper next, ma'am.
Okay, okay.
Okay.
All right. We have next Shri Kamalji speaking on sex age structure of human population of Meghalaya state. We have the speaker here. Do we have the speaker here?
Connect ಆಯ್ತಿಲ್ಲ ಸರಿಯಾಗಿ.
Do we have the speaker here? Suparna Pal. Suparna Pal, Do the rural and urban areas belong to the same universe in terms of its educational attainment? A case study in West Bengal. Do we have Suparnapal here? Okay. Jialal Rathore. उषा सिंह, बिहार में मानव संसाधन विकास, प्रतिरूप एवं परिवर्तनीयता. उषा सिंह. श्री प्रकाश सिंह एवं सीपी सिंह, ऊना जनपद, हिमाचल प्रदेश में साक्षरता वृद्धि एक भौगोलिक अध्ययन. And then we have Surendra Kumar, Manoj Yadav एवं भौलेंद्र कुमार यादव, जनपद प्रयागराज, इलाहाबाद में विकास खंडवार जनसंख्या घनत्व एक भौगोलिक विश्लेषण. हाँ जी. Yes.
Hello, ma'am. Can I share my PPT, ma'am?
Oh, if you are able to do it, please do it.
Yes, thank you, ma'am.
Yeah.
No, thanks, sir. Hello, good afternoon, everybody. Myself, Dr. Sarita K, Assistant Professor of Geography, Maharani's Arts College for Women, Mysore. Now I am going to give a brief introductions about my topic, like comparison of urbanizations and urban aging population in Karnataka. Before that, it's necessary to understand what is the, one second. What is the urbanization? So urbanization is an index of transformation from agriculture rural economy to a modern industrial one. So demographers said that urbanization is a process. In the process of urbanizations, decade to decade, the proportion of urban population increases. At the same time, decade to decade, the proportion or the percent of rural population is decreasing. This is the concept of urbanizations according to the demographer. A population aging is some problem. Population aging is a new concept. The term aging, it refers to the person aged 60 years and above. It's a hot and burning issues in the 21st century. So Karnataka, India enter into the mature stage in the process of population aging. So the present study has two objects. This is my study area. My study area is Karnataka. According to 2011 data, the total number of population in Karnataka is 6.1 crore with 3.9 crore male and 3.01 crore female population. The present study has two objectives. The first one, to examine the level of urbanization in Karnataka, means the decennial change of urban population to the total population in Karnataka from the last 5 decades, like 1971 to 2011. And the second objective is to find out the relationship between urbanization and the proportion of urban population in Karnataka. Means what is the proportion? Means that means what is the relationship between the level of urbanization and the proportion of elderly population, either positive relations or negative relations. This is the second objective. The present study is purely depends upon the secondary data, collect the secondary data through the Census of India and use some formulas like level of urbanizations and other formulas to calculate the percent of urban population to the total population and also percent of elderly population in total population. So this is my first objective. What is the level of urbanizations or what is the process of urbanization in Karnataka? So in Karnataka, both rural and urban population are increasing from one decade to another decade in terms of numbers. In terms of number, both rural and urban population increased from one decade to another decade. But in terms of percentage, the proportion of urban population increasing from decade to decade. At the same time, the proportion of rural population decreasing from one decade to another decade. In the graph shown that in 1971, the proportion of rural population in total population is 75.7%. It decreased a 69.1% in 1991, and it was further decreased 61.3% in 2011. During the same period, the urban population was increased from one decade to another decade. In 1971, the proportion or the percent of urban population in total population is 24.3%. It was increased to 30.9% in 1991 and further increased to 38.7% in 2011. It indicates that in Karnataka, decade to decade, urban population is gradually increased and the rural population is gradually decreased. So this is the first objective. So this graph shown that the district-wise or district-level distribution of urban population in Karnataka. So district and an average urban population is 39%, except 4 districts like Mysore, Dakshina Kannada, Dharwad, and Bangalore. The remaining districts has shown or represent or has the below state average urban population. The district like Mysore, Dakshina Kannada, Dharwad, and Bangalore has above the district average urban population. Bangalore, the capital of Karnataka, like Bangalore, has 91% of 91% of urban population in total population. The lowest percent of urban population found in Kodagu district with 15%. This table and this graph show the relationship between level of urbanizations and the proportion of urban elderly population. The present paper focus on only urban elderly population. In 1971, the percentage of urban elderly population is actually some typological mistakes are found in 1971 urban population. It is 6%. In 1990, the total percent of urban elderly population in total population is 6%. It was increased to 9% in 1991. And further increased to 19.1% in 2011. This table shows that there is a positive relationship between the level of urbanizations and the pace of urban aging population. Means both urbanizations and urban populations increased from one decade to another decade. So this table and graph clearly indicate that the positive correlation between level of urbanizations and the process of population aging with 0.980 coefficient correlation. So these are findings. This present paper, it found the two results, root two findings. One is in Karnataka, both rural and urban population increased from one decade to another decade in terms of number. But in terms of percentage, decade to decade, urban population has increased. At the same time, decade to decade, the rural population has decreased. So in the study area, the process of urbanizations and the process of elderly population correlated with each other with 0.98 correlation coefficient. The conclusion is in Karnataka, the process of population aging promote to increase the urban elderly population. At the same time, it also increased several socio-economic and health problems in urban elderly, like widowhood problem, living alone problem, dependency problem, diseases and disabilities. So therefore, the government and other NGOs to prepare and strongly implement the multiple aspect-oriented elderly welfare programs Otherwise, in Karnataka, increasing trend of urbanizations and increasing trend of urban elderly population, it produces unhealthy, inactive, and dependent elderly population. Thank you, one and all.
Thank you, Dr. Sarita, for enlightening us on a correlation between urbanization, the level of urbanization, and the process of urban elderly, or if I may say, geriatricization of the urban population. Thank you, Dr. Sarita.
Thank you, ma'am.
We will take the questions at the end. For the rest of the presenters, if they can make themselves available.
Madam,
The sir wants to say something. Yes.
I want to know one thing from Madam Sarita.
Yes, sir.
Which criteria, urban criteria, parameters you have taken to decide that elderly persons in Karnataka? Have you taken only the urban population and the elderly people, or you have also considered the other parameters?
No, sir. Only urban elderly population, sir.
Elderly people.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Hello. Hello.
Hello.
My voice is audible, ma'am. Hello.
Hello.
So my voice is audible, sir.
Yes, yes, we are hearing. Yes.
So I have considered only urban elderly population, sir.
No, I am asking which parameter you have taken other than urbanization to determine that elderly persons in the Karnataka? Because there are so many factors, those are affecting the elderly people. Economic factors, social factors, and other factors.
Okay, sir.
Not only the urbanization.
Yes, sir. But present paper focus only on urbanization, sir. Just correlate, sir. Just correlate the process of urbanization and the process of population aging, sir.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
For the other speakers, is Shri Kamalji present here? Suparna Pal, Jialal Rathod, Usha Singh, Shri Prakash Singh, evam CP Singh, सुरेंद्र कुमार, मनोज कुमार, भोलेंद्र कुमार यादव, इनमें से कोई भी? None of them seem to be here.
Ma'am, we don't have these presenters with us.
Yeah.
No, ma'am, we don't have them.
Okay, so with these two speakers only, we will wind up this session. Is that the case?
That's so, ma'am.
Okay. Then in that case, if any one of the present participants have any questions to ask to Nisha and Sarita, they are more than welcome. And if there are no questions, I will just like to make a very, very brief comment. Dr. Sarita, when you talk of a correlation between any of the two factors related to urban areas, kindly look into, as sir has suggested, look into the other factors also. Because from the statistics point of view, you may be falling into the trap of a statistical fallacy. This correlation that one is trying to drive at may be a matter of chance. So one should negate that matter of chance and then establish the correlation. That would be my suggestion. So in case you are trying to get this paper published or taking this study forward, my suggestion to you would be just be a little more grounded on the statistical aspect, because as said, that there are other aspects to be considered. So in absence of those usage of those factors or study of those factors, it may be so kindly look into that. Otherwise, the presentation seemed to be fine with me. Thank you. Thank you for the presentation. If we have any other question, we'll continue. If we do not have any other question, then thank you very much for inviting me to co-chair this wonderful session on population characteristics, on urbanization. Had a wonderful opportunity to hear to Dr. Karuna on sustainability of urban places, and really enjoyed the two presentations that we had in the session. Thank you to BHU for letting me be a part of this Indian Geography Congress. Thank you very much. Thank you very much to everybody. So with that, we will put an end to this session. Yeah.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for this beautiful conduction of the session. We have now reached the end of the session, but before we bid adieu, I would wish to sincerely thank our key speaker, chairperson, co-chairperson, rapporteur, and all the presenters for their active participation and cooperation. Thank you all. Have a great evening.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. I would like to thank each one of present here. Thank you, Diksha ma'am, and thank you, Dr. Paswan, for this session. I know it was a very short session, but I think like there are like a number of sessions of people are engaged elsewhere. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. And thank you, BHU and Nagi, for giving me this opportunity to be part of this 43rd Indian Geography Congress. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.